Anyway, so thank you for coming. How can I help you today?
Well, we first wanted to start by saying thank you, because when we started our business, we weren't completely sure how the logistics work financially. We weren't sure how it works in terms of mixing money. We weren't aware that you can write certain things off as a business expense, but I can't write off everything as a business expense just because I use it sometimes for business. And establishing ourselves as a legitimate LLC, having an EIN, having a bank account like that's specifically for business, helped us establish a sense of legitimacy when approaching other clients, and it really helped us grow. Before we came here, we were really just looking at a lot of prospective clients rather than specifically having people, concrete people, paying us, having a contract signed. So we just wanted to say thank you for giving us not only a structure, but some advice and a push, but also momentum and a feeling of professionalism.
I really appreciate, and you're welcome. And also I'd like to thank you for giving me opportunity, or giving us opportunity to help you. And I'm glad that you grew, and it took a moment for you to get to a different level. Yeah. Congratulations. And I'd like to share with you another story, because every time we meet, there's something more to learn. Every day I learn myself. And I have a peer group where I call sometimes if I get stuck. So today I'd like to invite you to look and reach the different level. And I call this 5 steps to success in a small business. Okay. And as quite a while ago, before you even start the business, you had a dream or you wanted to do something. So you took a seminar, you took the training, you took the course. So in order to succeed in any business, you need to know what do you want to do. So if you want to be a painter, you need to probably go to the painting school or whatever. You want to be accountant, you go to accounting school. Mm-hmm. If you want to be singer, you go to the singer school or whatever. And the second, so that's the first aspect of the being successful, or to having the higher chance to succeed in a business. Second important factor is that you need to know how to run the business, and that part is equally, if not more important than factual know to how to sing. Mm-hmm. Because the business aspect that's very important. That's the second step. Usually, in order to satisfy quote-unquote this requirement, you need to work with someone. You need to work, for example, if you want to be a contractor, first you need to be a contractor's helper. Mm-hmm. For 2 or 3 years in order to learn. If you want to be in printing business, you work for someone who owns the printing business, and then you learn how to approach customers, how to quote the jobs, and how to interact with people, because you learn this by osmosis, by interaction, by observation, and by doing. Mm-hmm. So first you need to know the business, what do you want to do. Second, you need to know how to run the business. Third step, or third point, or bullet point, whatever you like to call, is to know your market. So in order to succeed, you need to define your market, where is your niche, and who is going to be your market. So for example, someone like to paint residential houses, so they defined, I'm going to be a painter and paint residential houses or build residential construction. So, and then you define yourself and you reach for the people who own residence, own houses. So that's the third step. Fourth step is you need to find or figure out how to reach those people. So if someone is living in a house in Schaumburg, Illinois, how do I reach that person that they will know about me, that I'm in construction, so they like to have a new kitchen or remodeling of how am I going to reach them if I create the new flying shoes? I don't know, or gizmo. Mm-hmm. So when we define or find the ways, and internet is one of the tools, ways how to reach it, we also need to have budget for marketing, budget for surviving, budget for startup costs, so we could succeed in the business. If you satisfy those 5 requirements, 5 steps, knowing how to paint, having business experience, defining the market, deciding how to reach the market and have a budget for that. If you address those 5 issues, you have a much higher chance of succeeding in any business. So of course you could use to your advantage and in your market and whatever you do, and as we spoke before. So that's the idea. It's in a nutshell. Excuse me, I kind of was rambling a little bit, but
that makes sense. Do you have questions?
Well, I don't really have a question right now. I just want to thank you, sir, because when we came to you, we didn't have a legitimate business established. We were just making phone calls to people. We were making scripts with a logo. But using your expertise, we were able to leverage you and your knowledge and create a company and figure out all the logistics, like in your second bullet point, on actually how to run a business and how to set up the paperwork, which is really important with the state and the federal government. So we want to thank you with that. And your firm did an amazing job with helping us to understand the nuances, because even though we might know a little bit about business, we don't have as much experience as you do, and especially when it comes to accounting and doing everything in your firm and how to make sure all the legal stuff pans out with taxes. You did a phenomenal job, so we want to thank you for that.
Well, what I feel like we appreciated even more than understanding logistical information about business was the knowledge you recommended to us through books and through our conversations and through your mentorship, not just when we would have meetings, but the information you gave us to delve into outside of those meetings. Because a lot of that information gave us not only direction, but it gave us a sense of purpose. It helped us define what our goals are. And before we were sending out audits to several people, because we didn't know one of the steps you discussed previously, define your market. So once we defined our market, we realized when the market is more specific, it's easier to be the best in that market, because you can understand it at a level where no one else can, because that is what you do. You don't do anything else. So when we defined a market, we started getting so many calls that we have more clients interested than time to give them. And I think that the 5th point you made about budgeting out things for the business, something we learned in establishing the business is that one of the things you also have to budget out is time. And that every client requires a certain amount of time and attention and effort in order to do a genuine good job with them. So working with you helped us understand how to get more clients, helped us actually get more prospects. And now we have so many prospects that we've limited ourselves on the basis of time, so that when we have more time on our hands, we can take on more people. And that's been a gift.
Thank you for inspiring me and sharing this. And you know what, I'd like to build on this, having more clients and time and budget. I think what you need to define now is, in a budget matter, it is important to not lose perspective that by investing in time and investing money, we have a return on the money. Sometimes people don't have money, or they try to save too much. For example, if someone wants to buy the software for $300, and that's a lot of money, or $3,000, let's exaggerate, or buy the new computer, and that tool would help them to go to the higher level and leverage to make more money. It's very important not to be scared. We need to be financially responsible. So I think with full respect, there are many people, Suzy Orman is my favorite one, who says that we need to know how, and Robert Kiyosaki is another my favorite one, who says, when you spend money, rich people when they spend money, they look how that money will come back to them. What will be a return on the money spent. They are not afraid of spending if they have a purpose, or at least they will give a chance or to try to invest in something to see how that they will perform or make money.
Yeah, that's very true.
Right? Because there's a danger. I'm going to oversimplify it. If you could save your money by not putting gas in the car. You can walk.
Yeah.
I'm exaggerating, of course, but or instead of making phone calls, you could write the letters.
Yeah, it's the same concept. If you don't spend any money, you can't make more money. You have to spend some money to make money.
Right. I think I'd like to change your conversation or change our vocabulary from spending money to investing money. Because the perception, if we invest money, we are hoping for a return. But if we are spending money, we are kind of blowing away money.
That's true.
Okay, so it's what we say and how we say. It is. It gives this how we think and insight. So I don't want to spend any money. Fine, but I want to invest money. I want to invest in a business, and I like to see the returns.
So I have a question then. Let's say we spend some money on equipment,
Sure.
like a tripod or a computer or some kind of software. What can be written off as a business expense and what cannot be?
You know, that's a very good question. Many people are asking me this question, and my favorite answer is you can deduct everything. The idea is, if you could face the IRS agent and say, this deduction helped me to make money in a business, you can deduct this.
Okay.
So I purchased the computer because it helps me in the business. I purchased paper because I went to the business trip because I want to explore other options. And I have a phone I use for the business, or I have a subscription on internet, I have a Facebook advertising for business. So anything, any money, it's like a business. I spend money to make money. So government says, doesn't matter how you spend it, but if this is justifiable for the business, that means it's a good deduction.
Okay.
Except right now they stop allowing to deduct the bus tickets and other entertainment expenses, but anything else it is still allowable.
So what did they stop being allowed?
Entertainment. It used to be you were allowed to deduct the entertainment, take the client to for entertainment. Now you can't. You can have a business meals, but not entertainment.
Okay, so by entertainment you mean I can't take a client out for a movie,
Correct.
but I can take them out for dinner.
Correct.
Okay.
And talk about business.
Okay, that makes sense.
Or rather than movie, maybe show.
Oh, I understand.
Okay, or both
Or
games.
sporting event.
Exactly.
Oh, when people were writing these off as business expenses. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes, so government or IRS or Congress got to senses and said, okay guys, if you want to have entertainment, enjoy it, but that's not going to be a business deduction.
Yeah.
But at least they save the meals as a business deduction. So again, what could be deducted? Anything and everything, as long as you can justify and you can, in your clear mind. For example, I'm going to use another example. You're working together and you spend $300 for software, and he's going to ask you, is it going to make us money?
Yeah.
And you say, sure, no question. Or he went for the business trip, and you ask him, hey, why did you go there? Is it going to give us money, make other money? Yes. Okay. So you have to go, for example, to hire somebody to give you support or whatever. Anything and everything for the business which helps you to grow, succeed, or make money is allowable.
So if my apartment, if I am working out of my apartment,
Sure.
and I'm paying rent on that apartment at one
Sure.
point, let's say I'm financially independent in this scenario, I am paying my rent, I'm doing the business.
Sure.
Is my rent capable of being written off as I'm working from the home?
That's a very good question. You could allocate the rent. So for example, 25% of your condo is, or the apartment you live in or renting is used for the business. 25% is justifiable. If you put 100% and you live there, and if IRS would like to audit you, then they will not fly because you live there.
Okay, so it would have to be under 50%. It can't be 100%.
Well, it can be as long as you don't live there.
Okay.
So for example, if you have a other place you live in and you rent another office or condo or apartment where you're gonna be performing business only, fine. But if you don't have another place to live, it would be hard to convince IRS agent that this is the only place for business and you don't use for the personal purpose. That's why you allocate. That's why you allocate your personal phone. You don't have to have a business phone, but you say I use 50% of the for the business, so I deduct the 50%. But you're not going to do the 100% because you still talk to your friends.
Yeah.
Unless you have two phones. One for the clients, one for the personal.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, so that's why sometimes your personal expenses have to be separate, but they could be you could allocate some of the expenses: internet, utilities, rent expense, auto expenses, which is another one. You use the auto, you could depreciate the auto, or you could write the mileage of, I think it now is 58.5 cents a mile, if I remember correctly. So all of that is as a business deduction. You drove today to our office, that's deductible. You make a note, or you have a mile IQ, whatever you have, record the mileage and you deduct on your tax return. Yes, that was part of the business expense.
So would you recommend QuickBooks to small business owners?
And when you said, there's another question. As long as you could make sense out of your finances, doesn't matter what you do.
Okay.
I have people who are very successful, who use the pen and paper, who use Excel. I would like to recommend them to use the QuickBooks. I'm a pro advisor and certified.
What does that mean?
That means that I went through and I'm part of the program where I'm registered into it, and I'm part of that. That I know, supposedly I know QuickBooks. I know QuickBooks. I've been teaching QuickBooks classes in community centers and our clients.
Okay.
So yes, I highly recommend. So it helps to keep organize the finances in one place, and it's much easier. And even if you don't know, I think with 6 hours of training you could be in a different level. You could watch the videos, but you should have at least 1 or 2 hours or 3 hours of one-to-one with any accountant or ourselves, who could explain. So learning curve when you work with someone is totally different. It's good to watch videos, but sometimes it's good to have someone who could accelerate the learning. Instead of watching 1 hour video and getting answer at the 55th minute, you call someone and says, hey, I have a question. Oh, press this button, and this button.
Oh, yeah, much easier.
Right, so it is very, very important. And then, remember, we were talking about about mentorship and also about business coaching. We start talking about, do you remember that, why do the Olympic gold medalists have a coach? Gold medalists are the best in the world.
Yeah.
Why do we have a coach?
Yeah.
Michael.
Well, even if you are the best in the world, it's really hard to take a step back from yourself and look at yourself from an outside perspective and see where your shortcomings are. It's really hard to see where you're potentially making mistakes, and if you get caught up in analyzing yourself, you have a hard time doing things.
Yeah, so it's good, important to have someone from outside, to help us to get through our blockages or our egos and to raise to our different level. So sometimes it's good to be on your own in a business, and sometimes in a partnership, but it requires totally different chemistry and different understanding and respect, and people need to complement in a business. Usually it's easier to be on your own for a certain level and hire people who are doing something specific and utilize as contractors. But it goes both ways. Or sometimes in a larger corporations they have a board of directors, people who are advising the company and watching over. So that's the idea of mentorship on a higher level. But on a lower level, you just, as Robert Kiyosaki said, you just buy somebody else's knowledge. find a mentor, and that's the best way. And I think if I could give anyone advice about the business, before you spend money on a business, find someone who already is successful and ask them humbly it, or buy the program, buy the training, and buy the mentorship for a year, whatever is necessary. And the danger is, if you know how to swim in a shallow water, you think you can swim in a deep water, but it's better if you have someone who would hold your hand till you really know how to swim.
I really agree with you. I think I experienced this firsthand a week ago. One of our clients had a bit of an issue with that we didn't know how to handle, and we were having a very hard time with it. We were looking online, we were trying different things, we were contacting different people, and we did not want to call that person and say it cannot be done, because they're paying us, we have a good personal relationship, a good business relationship. We personally are now invested in this person doing well, which is how we tend to be with every client when we agree to sign a contract with them. We are just as invested as they are. We want them to succeed.
Sure.
So I can't call this person and say, I'm sorry, it cannot be done. So I'm thinking, how can we do this? How can we do this? And when I finally figured out the solution, and we have another client who comes up with a problem that's like this compared to the bigger problem we had, it makes me feel like, oh, I know what I'm doing. So I think understanding how to swim in deep waters first makes it much easier to swim in shallow waters when you have other problems with other clients.
Yeah, it's a different perspective, and what I have learned, those deep waters, year from now, will be much shallower because you're going to be in a much deeper water.
And you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly, and that's what is wonderful about life and about business. Every day is a different story, different situation. It's a learning experience, ongoing learning experience. It's like in relationship. It's good to be in a relationship, but you discover a person every day, and you learn about person every day, and so it's the same in the business. It's you learn every aspect and you grow. And till today, I learned about business and about how managing it and grow.
That's very true. That's very true.
Anyway, so maybe we can conclude this our little session, and maybe we can create another one for our people who watch us and share so we can share more knowledge. And I really appreciate for helping me and giving us a chance. And I'm happy to see you how you grow and evolve, and you're totally different level. You're not crawling now. You're running. You're still gonna run a little bit more and faster, but you're on totally different level. So congratulations.
Thank you. Hopefully we get in the car soon.
Yes, you're gonna drive. Hey, I like that, using technology to go faster.
That's the theme. That's the company's theme.
Exactly. It is a wonderful metaphor. Some things we can do ourselves, and when you start, you leverage the technology to be a higher level. From Facebook, like in your case, to some other technologies. Okay? Thank you.